Hello and welcome back. We have a new segment here with Chris Seeds. We're going to be bringing him on with a little virtual interview here.
Absolutely. And if you love our content here at FreightWaves, you absolutely need to go check out some of Chris's content too. He's the director of sales at Bridge Logistics, and he puts out a segment called What Not to Miss with Chris. So, Chris, thank you for joining us on FreightWaves Now. Tell us, what should we not be missing this week?
Well, I think one of the things not to miss this week is, how you're seeing a lot of, volumes and, demand kind of stay the same, but you're seeing a spike in, rates as far as truckstop.com is concerned. And I think it just goes back to saying that, we're in such a unique market right now where the slightest thing can make a huge shift in, rates it really depends on the market, so to speak. But there's just a lot going on right now. It's an exciting time to be in logistics, that's for sure. But, how just the smallest thing like the pipeline or, some leftover Blitz Week issues that some carriers experienced really impacted freight last week. And you're still seeing a little bit of that this week here.
And Chris, so you of course do your own content, but you've been kind of a staple with us here on FreightWaves for a while. Let's bring it back to the start. For those who maybe aren't familiar with you, especially on this brand new show, tell us a little bit about what you do at Bridge Logistics.
Yeah, sure. I'm the sales director here at Bridge Logistics. Been at Bridge for about 9 years now. Love Bridge, great place to work, fantastic culture. Started off on the brokerage floor, did that for about 7 years, built my own book of business, and really figuring out what this industry was all about. And I still don't know a lot what it's about. There's a lot to learn every single day. I think you could probably do this for 50 years and, still not be an expert. There's just, there's so many ins and outs of it. But, as of the last, year or so, we've really started to get into, some market content. Sonar's been a big piece of that. I started my journey with FreightWaves and Sonar about a year and a half ago with Kyle Taylor, and I had a conversation about some of the benefits of Sonar and how it could bring some insight into the fold for us here at Bridge that we'd be able to share with, not only some of our customers and prospects, but carriers as well to, really provide insight outside of, what they're seeing on a day-to-day basis and provide value overall.
So, Chris, you mentioned you can be in this industry for 50 years and still just be trying to get a grasp on what's happening. And a lot of that has to come from recent trends happening throughout the market. It's always changing, all these different variances. What's one of the main variances that you're seeing over there at Bridge Logistics?
Yeah, so there's a lot of variances. And I think, I think when it comes down to it, capacity is king right now. And, if you go back to 2018 to the 2019 shift, I think we're seeing a lot of similarities this year that hopefully we won't see next year. But a lot of the supply chain or the supply piece, I think has to do with truck orders and driver availability. Because at the end of the day, I mentioned 18 to 19 earlier. It's the only thing changed in those 2 years, if you look at supply and demand was the volume. Was the supply. Volume stayed relatively, the same both years. It was just the amount of supply in the market as far as driver capacity was concerned. So, for us, keeping an eye on, Class A truck orders and, drivers coming to the market, I think is one of those variables that is super important right now to make sure that you understand what's going on so that you can predict, for customers and carriers alike, what's going to transpire over the next several months.
And so we talk a lot about that driver shortage and the lack of drivers in those variances, but we've also talked a lot about the lack of brokers. And you've done your share of time on the brokerage floor as well. Do you have any advice for those maybe looking to get started in brokerage right now? Of course, if you're not in logistics right now, it's a great time to enter the market. But of course, it takes a little bit of grit and a little bit of toughness to succeed in it. What would you tell those who are maybe looking to hop onto the trend?
Well, first of all, we're hiring, so hop onto the trend over here. But you're absolutely right. For us, we focus on three things here. It's about being humble, hungry, and smart. being humble enough to trust the person to the left or right of you to help out and to learn, being hungry enough to get up every single day and to grind and to realize this is a hard job and an incredibly rewarding role, but you got to show up every day. And then you got to be smart. You got to be, you have to look into resources outside of what you typically would on a day to day. You can't rely on the resources in any role that, that's placed in front of you. You have to leverage, resources like FreightWaves, and the news you guys put out, and being able to be educated enough to have advisory conversations with customers and carriers, as opposed to just being another broker, calling and begging for freight. But it's a grind, it's a hustle, it's a tough role, but it's incredibly rewarding. And for us, like I said before, we're looking for humble, hungry, and smart. And I think if you bring that into any logistics role, as far as brokerage is concerned, you'll succeed.
Not just about building that book of sales, you've also got to build that resource toolbox to make you successful when you have that book of sales.
That's right. And
Absolutely.
People can see through that authenticity, whether it's there or not. So, Chris, that has to speak volumes when you're having those conversations with your customers.
Yeah.
Real curious.
Yeah, and for us, a lot of it's, sorry to interrupt. I was going to say a lot of it's, that genuine curiosity, being able to be, genuine enough to pry for, what's going on in your world. It's not enough just to lay it out about, what's our features and benefits. It's about understanding, how those features and benefits impact their world, and having that, we call it that genuine curiosity or childlike curiosity, when you're having conversations with prospects and customers, to understand, at a very basic level, what affects them and what they need to, get to their future state.
That's right. I'm also curious. One of the things that we're always seeing with, just drivers, not just a shortage, but just retention. Chris, this is a red hot market. On all parts, just as Kaylee mentioned, within brokerage and all parts of the supply chain. When you're looking at how you're going about, retention, are you doing a lot of training in-house, or how are you compelling just, to retain some of your employees?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something that we've worked on for a really long time, and we've been tweaking that onboarding process, ever since I've been here. But I would say, we've made great strides over the last year or so in the program that we've implemented. So we're bringing on, new hires. They're getting a feel for that operation piece early on, so that they're building confidence, so that they can have educated advisory conversations with prospects and customers once they start selling. So for us, it's not just about throwing them to the wolves. Here's a directory. Go start with Z and call every single person in there that manufactures anything and go see what you can find. It's about giving them a foundation, a base of what this industry is all about. What it takes to be successful. And giving them the confidence to pick up the phone and have those conversations, or send those emails, or interact over LinkedIn or social media. But the other piece that's really important is that mentorship and that, that constant interaction with new hires and existing employees. Whether you've been here for 7 days or 7 years, we want to continue to educate you about what's going on in the industry, so that you can have advisory conversations with your customer, prospects, carriers, et cetera. But I think the one thing that, we do really well that keeps our retention rate high is that we, continue to build in-house to, everybody, whether it's at a manager level, or whether it's at a day one broker level. We want to continue to upskill and build into individuals, not just on a business level, but on a personal life as well. Because when you succeed inside and outside of work, we at Bridge succeed together.
So Chris, you put out your own specific freight content called What Not to Miss with Chris. And of course, here at FreightWaves, we do a lot of the content creation too. And that space is also kind of hot. There's lots of people putting out podcasts and videos and things on LinkedIn, taking polls and stuff. Talk to me a little bit about how important it is, really quickly, to have collaboration in that space of content creation, instead of trying to compete against all of your other people who are also doing that, maybe for views, instead of just talking to them and hearing collaborative from both sides.
Yeah, I think it's really important that, and I don't even look at it as competition. I think that there's so much content and so much information that's out there and there's so many different interpretations of the content that's out there. I mean, just sonar alone, with all the different indices and data points you can look at, that can be interpreted a number of different ways. So it's great to have, a lot of content out there from different resources in the the logistics community. I look at a lot of the content that different people are sharing from competitors, and I think they're doing a great job as well. I think that the more content we have that's out there, the more information we can share, the more better educated that everybody can be on what's going on, and make smarter decisions and help teach and coach not only just customers but employees as well. A lot of the reason as to why we started What Not to Miss with Chris in the first place was to not only educate our customers but our employees as well, so that they can have those conversations with carriers, prospects, et cetera, and be confident in what they're saying.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to catch What Not to Miss with Chris, go follow Chris Steeds on LinkedIn. Lots of great information there on a weekly basis. Also, a source of great information, our Anthony Smith here with Kevin Hill. They've got a shipper update for you.